JGE here, and in front of me I have the Garmin Fenix 6, and this one came in and as a service, and what we'll be looking at is this button right here. It's likely that the button on the inside is damaged. If we press the button here, it goes through, but we're not getting any resistance, no click of the button. For example, I'm going to lift this up and I'll press down first on the center button, then this down button. Hopefully you can hear the difference. So here's the center button, right, and now the down button. Usually if your button is not responding, or so if your button's not responding to any of your inputs, it could be a few things. It could be one, you have gunk that's built up on the inside of this pusher here, and it can't reach the button, so it's like stuck, so when you're trying to push it in, it won't go anywhere. Two, it could be that a little bit of moisture got in through an O-ring right there and it corroded the button. Or three, the button could be just from wear of using the button. This usually happens with the activity button, where you just wore out that button or the button got completely destroyed. So we're going to go ahead, open this up, and we're going to take a look and see what we need to do. I have a replacement button here, as that's what I think that the problem is. We'll go ahead and get started with that. So we should be using a T5 here. All the parts and tools could be found at JGE&x. And we have 5 screws here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. To lift up the screen, we're going to lift to the left and down. We're going to go ahead and disconnect the screen ribbon here just with our spudger. And since this connection is a little bit deeper, you can work on one side and then go to the next side if it's not coming up. There we go. So that's the screen that we have here. We also have an O-ring or a gasket that sits right there. Okay, and here's our first look here. As we can see with the button, whenever we're pressing down, we're not even reaching the button there. So the button is still attached to the board there. I don't feel any movement, but it looks like the actual mechanism is completely destroyed there. All the other buttons all operate properly. So I'm going to go ahead and get this ribbon up. Now we have 2 screws here, and that should also be T5, so we shouldn't need to switch our bit. Now, looks like we just have a little bit of adhesive here. One thing you do want to be mindful are of these pins here. They make connection points with the screen, so you do not want to damage those. Alright, so let's get that out. And yep, nothing's in there, that's great. So here's the board. Let's take a look here. Yep, so that button mechanism is just completely destroyed. Either there was too much pressure that got pressed, or maybe something got bumped with the wrist really hard against something and that caused it to completely fail. I doubt that something like this is just from mechanical wear or just, you know, the lifespan of the button. Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna get some hot air, and we're gonna get this button off, or with a soldering iron, and then we'll go ahead and place a new one on there. Now I'm gonna go underneath a microscope just to make sure that I do the best job that I can, but you don't necessarily need a microscope for this next part. So you have 3 contact points in the back there, and you got 2 points here that secure this button. So you'll either use solder wick and unsolder that and put on the new button, or use hot air. Alright, so I'm gonna go to our... Alright, so I am next to my microscope here, and we're gonna go ahead and start the removal. So since we have the charging pads right here, so there's 4 of them, we're not going to use hot air. We're going to go ahead and just use a solder wick, a flux, and a soldering iron. Alright, so I have the button off. Now I'm going to go grab the replacement button, the tactile switch, and throw it back on. And it's a little tight here with the camera being a little close, so I'm trying to work around that, so it's not quite the easiest to work around the camera here for precision work, but we'll make it happen.
Hey, this is Joe from the Sauna. If this video brought you value, please support us by buying parts, tools, refurbished electronics, or sending your device in for repair so we can keep offering you free repair tutorials. Back to the video.
Alright, now we're going to go ahead and just put some flux. Alright, now with my finger I'm going to push towards the board just to make sure that it's seated all the way back and down, so we've got a good solid connection. I'm going to start with the corner here just to secure it. Alright. Just removing some of the excess here. Don't want to have too much on there. You just need the smallest amount. Now for the 3 points on the back. Alright, and we are back from the microscope. I went ahead and just made sure everything is nice and clean with isopropyl alcohol. And here's the center button that we replaced. And now you can hear that center click. And this was the down button. Now the center button. On off button. All right, that's secure on there, good. And everything's perfect there. If you do replace it, there are small components around here. Make sure you do not damage those as you are replacing it, or get solder onto anything else over here. All right, all that we have left after replacing the button would be to go ahead and reassemble everything. To do so, I'm just going to go ahead and clean our surface here for our screen to come back on. Now you will see these metal antennas around here. If one does fall out of your housing, make sure you do put it back, or things such as your Bluetooth or your GPS will not function properly or at all. So make sure that you're not losing any of those. Now, if you do find that some of your buttons are hard to depress with the board out, so just in general, there are C clamps right here that you can go ahead and pull that off and just clean out this pusher here. And you can also lubricate the O-rings just to make sure that's all good. I do have a video on that you can look up. And as well as this gasket here, this gasket's looking good. If you do see wear, especially if you're wearing it out often in like salt water or just in other places, it might be a little bit, you might see a little bit more wear here. You could replace that, or you can go ahead and clean it and re-lubricate it just to make sure that holds good. But we look good on that. So we're gonna go ahead and place our board right in. Again, you got your 3 buttons here aligned with 3 buttons, the 3 pushers here, and you got your charging contacts to the charging contacts there. So let's go ahead and just place that in. Just drops right in. Don't force anything. Everything should just come right into place. We're gonna get our connector connected right up. Now we're gonna go ahead and secure the board. We could have done that before we did the connector. Just double checking that connector there. Again, you have 3 almost like pogo type pins here. Make sure that you didn't bend these or break them, as they make contact with the screen here. Alright, all that we have left is to put the screen back on and the 5 screws. So let's go ahead and do that. Just use the flat side of your spudger just to make sure that you have it fully seated down. If you do not have it fully seated down, you could have issues such as lines or pixelation. If you do have it fully seated down and you're still having that issue, try and reset your device or just reboot it. If you're still having issues, you may have damaged either a component around this connector or potentially this ribbon here. Alright, now with the 5 screws, right, now that we have it loosely on there, we're going to go ahead and just make the force be even on all sides. good. All right. So these are how all the buttons sound. I'll start with the power button. The device might turn up here. So that's the power and light button. Here's the up and menu button, down button, activity button, and the back button. All right, let's go ahead and start up the device. Okay, and we are in. Let's give it a second for it to boot up all the way while it's loading things in the background. Alright, so we got down working, we got the up and menu button working beautifully. Down again, let's go back. Now, you might want to check that your light works, that your backlight works. There we go. Activity button, and then you do want to make sure that your GPS is still working, and I mean everything's be working. We just swapped out the button, but you do want to double check that you didn't accidentally miss something. And there we go. That's how you would replace a bad button on a Garmin Fenix 6. Again, all the parts and tools can be found at JGE&x, and if this repair is too complex for you, you can go ahead and send it in to our servicing department, and you just fill out a repair form on our website, and we send you a free shipping label. You package it and send it in. We'll fix it and send it right back to you. Thank you for watching. See you next time.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. If you guys love what we do, please support us. You guys can click on the links that we have on the end screen. You guys can buy parts, sales, or service so we can continue to make great videos for you guys for many more years. Thank you.